If you don't mind, we can start our session, our conversation. And so we are happy to see that we have obviously young people, women and men. This is what is very, very important also in the UN. We would like to mainstream gender. It doesn't mean that just on one side. We want to have equal opportunities. So I am Raymond Tavares. I am a UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization staff. And I am very happy, it's not about me today, it's about Industry 4.0. And I'm very pleased to have here with me in the panel people representing different sectors and different aspects we need to consider when we talk Industry 4.0. We have obviously people working in the private sector. We have representative of government. We have representative of the knowledge-based institutions. And we can say all of them are members of society. They are citizens of their own country. So the people or the community we are talking about during these 2 days, they are symbolizing and representing it because they have their work to say as people and as members of communities. And without wasting your time, and we would like to introduce the members of the panel. We ask them, obviously, to stand up for the photo or just also to introduce themselves later on. But for now, I'm going to say we are very happy to hear also to have people from different continents. If I see you have African, no, and you have European, Asian, and this is very important for us also to have this diversity of opinion here. So I will start from the other side to introduce Mr. Zeng, representing the private sector. So it means the Shanghai Additive Manufacturing Associations. Mr. Zeng, thank you for being here. After him, I have also the representative of the institution doing the research, connecting people to research and development. Liang, representing Fraunhofer, is also here to discuss and to share experience with you. Thank you for being here. We have Mrs. Jessica Junianville, if I pronounce well your name, from the Seychelles, working in for the government of the Seychelles, a small island, beautiful place we need to visit, and representing also Innovation, Science and Technology Institution there. Welcome. And you all know, obviously, Yoslan. This is the name which is there, but he is not Yoslan. Representing an international organization, Hans Tulston, who has been also with us representing UNESCO, and it's a pleasure to have you here in this panel. Welcome. Obviously, we are planning to have somebody from the university, from Beijing, and unfortunately, we have representation, but the person could not make it. But obviously, if you have questions related to university, their role, I think we made all the questions to him, and we'll try ourselves, based on what he shared with us, to really respond to your questions. Here, normally I said, we base all what we are doing, and we base our discussion even yesterday on the triple helix. As UNIDO, and it is in my presentation, I hope, we are happy always to add not triple, 4 helix, because we think an important sector or important partner is missing, at least for the developing countries. It's evident. We call them arbitrageurs. The arbitrageurs are those bringing the money, investors, venture capitalists. I'm very happy to have here also because I know in the room somebody has been working on that and could also at least respond to questions, or since we are without the panelists from Beijing, maybe also even share your experience on that, finance. Because the governments in developing countries, they don't have the means, even if they are tax collectors, they don't have the means to introduce all the technologies by themselves. Private sector needs to do it, but private sector needs to find in place also a very effective finance or banking system so they can themselves make investments and make things happen in those countries, at least for the adoption or for really transferring new technologies. So it's very important to have that in mind. To have that in mind, so it means if we only say government, knowledge-based institutions, and industry, something for us is maybe under the lines we need to read or is missing. Let's say for that, it's for us, it's important also when we talk about Industry 4.0 to have the idea of culture of innovation, to have an ecosystem. It's not about only communities, it's not about people, it's not about the private sector, it's not about the government. It's about really an ecosystem. And the fundamental, the base of that is innovation, and in my presentation, I'm going also to mention it. Without continuing talking like that, the introduction is today, we are here, I'm going to first make a presentation, and I will call all the panelists to make the presentation. After the presentations, obviously we open the floor for questions, but I will call again your attention and have to ask questions to the panelists, because if those questions we plan to ask them are not asked by the audience, I will be doing it myself. So they will spell out things we would like them to share with you. So, we have 2 hours since one panelist is not here, so I think we have more questions from the audience. So, as a UNIDO, we are normally the UN agency dealing with industry, the industrialization, but we don't want to do it only industry development. We are adding now inclusive industrial development. Inclusive, nobody should be left behind. And so when we talk about inclusive, it's about the people, it's about the environment, it is about the planet. Normally we do mention 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are people, planet, and prosperity. That prosperity means we don't forget the private sector. We don't forget that the people need to be comfortable to earn money, to have profits, but they need to think about the planet, they need to think about people. My presentation is, as you said, the background, showing you at least who is UNIDO, what we are doing, and also talking about the Industry 4.0, but before, what happened, to refresh your mind, or our mind, and to talk about the implication of the new technologies, the new developments. We focus more on Industry 4.0. The word industry is there, and so it means we don't need to forget that. We are talking about the 4th industrial revolution. UNIDO roles and the way forward. So, in terms of the first one, Industry 4.0 and the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, we think that the 4th industrial revolution describes technological-driven paradigm which change all aspects and affects all the sphere of our life. Here it is, we as UNIDO, we deal more with the SDG 9, which is industry, infrastructure, and innovation. But the industrial revolution, the 4th industrial revolution, touched several other SDGs that you can see here the list. It was just for those who are not familiar to see that what we are living now, what we are facing now, can drastically change the life of people, include people, and change our future tomorrow in terms of economic benefits, environmental benefits, and social benefits. We put some figures just to help you. that this new fourth industrial revolution can help us to achieve what we there in terms of productivity. Some societies, productivity is still very important. It's what we learn also from Japan. I think it's very, very important considering their aging population and decreasing population. You have also the decrease of pollution. We need to take care of our planet. And we have social benefits, increase of quality of life. Here, many, many people are afraid of the fourth industrial revolution, thinking that we will lose jobs. We will also, in some countries, we will not catch up. This is not the case. We are obviously reinventing new jobs. And sometimes they say the robots. What we would like here is decent jobs, because you should know that before and still now, we have what we can define as undecent and non-decent jobs. And I think it is part of the dignity of humanity to all have a decent job and comfortable, to be comfortable. You have people who are getting more tired and they are really having what in some places they call dirty jobs. This is what we would like, at least this new, we know that this new industrial revolution can bring concrete solutions to those jobs. And we all focus on things we like, we can do well, we contribute to our humanity and sustainability of humanity. The new technologies, just to recap, you have several of them, starting obviously from robotics. And normally when we do robotics, we start always to say the robots are not here only to replace you. It is to take the job you don't want to do and to give you more time to dedicate quality time for what you like to do. Things about the vacuum. That one sometimes, I was among those who didn't want this vacuum automatic. I think, no, I can do it myself. But I know, I don't still have it. But many people, they lie down after the 8 hours or 10 hours working. And in their houses, they enjoy having this kind of vacuum going and cleaning everything. Is doing something, maybe also, it is just a simple, maybe insignificant example, but to show you that we normally are saying robots are here to enable us of more time for things that matter for us. You have biotechnology, in a more serious note, which are also helping us to reach and certain other advantages of our life. And you have energy and environment, very keen and very really important in many, many countries. I can say only developing countries. We can see in advanced economies also, advanced material, because we are talking about banning some plastics, some material in some countries and realities. Applications of new technologies for just you to see. We can have it, and here fortunately we have also the 3D printing, additive manufacturing representative, an association from Shanghai here. You have self-driving, so when we talk about e-mobility and for some countries and smart cities. Unfortunately, I think we will be talking more about Industry 4.0 and less about smart cities. Oh, I'm not going to use that word, but believe me, the smart manufacturing or the Industry 4.0 is here to serve smart cities better. So the fourth industrial revolution, first mechanization, second electrification. I'm just summarizing also. We can have different approach, you can call it differently, but I want to just refresh your mind. The third, automation, and now we're talking about data. This is where it's very important. I mention it later. It is very important we regain the trust to the people, to the consumers in what we call it, because it's here. Industry, business, and private sector. I can use, and just allow me to use those words so we can understand ourselves. So the consumers, we need to regain the trust of the consumers of the development and the use of new technologies. Here, obviously, we think from economies of scale, economies of scope, we have customization. Industry 4.0 is the interaction of people, technology, and resources. And here I mentioned, so people are always the center of what we are doing. Implications. Implication in policy. We need, obviously, to define the policies. Maybe we are late. We need to regulate, obviously. different from policies. Institutions, they need to adapt, adjust. Enterprises, they are themselves, they do it sometimes, they don't need us, obviously, government to do it, or they need only money, sometimes they say, but we need to put them in an environment where they can grow and do well what they are supposed to do. People. Also, people, so it means talent, the skills. We need, obviously, the people to change and to go towards what we are calling sometimes convergent skills. At the same time, we need the people to patronize the new technologies, the trust where it is as consumers. Implication for developing countries. I listed and look at just the opportunities this time. Don't look at the challenges, because most of the time we look at the challenges, demographic changes, skills and education, we are not there, and investment. Here I'm talking about the potential of integration into global value chains. It's still possible. And leapfrogging. This is the possibility, this is the only industrial revolution giving us the possibility at least to catch up. But the catch-up needs to be understood. I'm not asking those countries so they can have the same wealth in 1 decade, 10 years of the countries who accumulated capital and resources for 100 years. But to go towards descent, to go to what dignity of humanity deserve to have. So it means a decent job, to eat, to be cured when they are ill, and also if they want to go on holidays, to use their quality time. What does it mean? Sometimes also to go on holidays, like in some countries they used to do it, to visit other population, to open their mind. Sustainable development is taking care of all the things we mentioned with our environment pollution. There is a new geography of production and investment. Here also you can see first, second, in terms of revolution, where it happened. And the fourth is for everybody should be considered. The fourth is a revolution. I'm going to go faster because I think also to give time to the others. So change in FDI, foreign development investment. But by the way, you have it also in the proceedings. So you can maybe better read certain things, which I will be just saying very quickly. UNIDO goals. External factors. UNIDO is trying also to speed up the technological transformation in some areas where people are not taking care of the environment. So we are, in this gathering, we are talking about smart cities, and maybe certain aspects are not being considered. By taking stock of this one, we can talk and see the opportunities of investment and opportunities of serving the purpose of cities, of people, of consumers, to some companies with which we are in contact and interacting. So accelerated demand, increased demand for innovation-related technical cooperation. We are getting more and more from our member states, even requests of assistance for the transition towards digital development, Industry 4.0. So it means it's very important. Bangladesh said, okay, you help us before for the global value chain to be attractive, to be obviously a place where people can say, you have qualified labor there and they're not costing less. But we would like you to help us also to transform, to enter in a smooth way in the digital revolution. Matching supply, so this is knowledge sharing, capacity building, technical cooperation, strategic partnership. We are really also using this channel of partnership. Big companies, going to some countries, and they are doing it. I can maybe not name some of them. Going for additive manufacturing to Morocco, going for automation to Egypt, so it means the countries, the capacity building, the big multinational corporations, they have the technology, they have the resources, and so they are just ready sometimes to go to partner with international organizations, to go to those countries and to train the skilled people and to use it as an entry point, obviously, to the business. But it should be a win-win. So it means in those countries, we are helping also the research centers, we are helping the government, we are helping institutions also to modernize and to take profit of that partnership. Here it's about demand and supply. UNIDO is committed to establishing a trust relationship between supply and demand markets, demand of the markets. So this is the demand, increase awareness, security and safety. From the other side, you have the supply capacity building, technical cooperation standards and regulations. UNIDO functions. On policy advice, we are very relevant and we are helping countries on their innovations. Innovation policies, we can help them also on the strategies, we can help them even with the paper I was mentioning to you. We have a tool helping the country to measure how conducive is its national system of innovation, how good the communication is between at least, let's say, the three main actors. I'm not talking about the arbitrators. And to help them to correct. It is for, we are saying, policy consistency. Because we want also the policy we have them to put in place needs to know their own reality, where they stand, if it can be helpful or not. Technical cooperation, those are pilot and demonstration. Norms and standards, very important. We are helping the international community to set the standards. Personally, I can say that I am part of some technical committees, other colleagues also, defining the standards going up, or be it in additive manufacturing, in national system of innovation standards, in the circular economy, to shape tomorrow what should be standards we can use equivalently in different countries. Norms, and so we talk about ISO, we talk about IAM, International Accreditation Forum, we talk about ILAC, International Laboratory Accreditation Council, so it means at that level where not everybody can enter and have a voice. So we talk about convening partnership. It's important also we have like this conference. This is important we all discuss. We expose about the problems of new technologies. Recently we organized a big forum on security and safety of the new technologies. And so it was really a discussion to say, okay, the data management, how it should be, where are the risks, where are the problems, what companies are doing, what international organizations are doing, what international community are doing. And it was very, very good also sometimes to have those kind of international and global forum for that. UNIDO function of policy advice, I think this is just detailing what UNIDO is doing in terms of standards, what UNIDO is doing in technical cooperation. And the partnership, some companies just you can see, I think it was, oops, I have that. Not all of them are here. Obviously, I see that. This is those we saw, because we have also a kind of process and procedure. Due diligence needs to be done. So we check, there is a cross checklist to see if we can work with those companies. So some of them are not here, because we are still, maybe they are collaborating and they are working in some places where we are working, but we have not done yet the due diligence, the cross-check if you can work, because maybe they are not doing well in certain aspects regarding the SDGs. We have international cooperation with UNESCO, ITU, WITO, we can add also UNTAD and WTO. Investment, we have a network of investment and community promotion offices. We have in Japan, we have in South Korea, we have in Germany, and before, in the past, they were doing more of mobilizing investment. Now they are more and more working in some part of the world on really assessing new technologies, identifying them, and making them accessible to some developing countries' partners. These are other initiatives. UNIDO is involved, and this Bridge for Cities is the same city, similar smart cities. Recently, we have been discussing more about the smart cities in those countries and those cities member of the One Belt, One Road initiative. UNIDO for Industrial Revolution Strategic Framework. Here, it's very interesting to see that we focus more as UNIDO on what is here. We started smart manufacturing. Good, because this is maybe the core business. We normally in our technical cooperation, we are working on helping the countries to lift up, to increase their productive capacities. After that, we link up with trade, where we introduce the quality infrastructure, the aspects of standards and quality. But now, I think the circular economy, another approach, a concept which is very well relevant to what we are talking about in the smart city. We said smart agro-food because in UNIDO we have agribusiness, we are helping the countries also to develop that. And smart energy, those programs, smart energy. You have the details of each of them in the next slides. obviously. And around this, you can see what we are also promoting or where we're intervening. And this is cross-cutting, like the skills, gender, and youth. We don't have to replicate, to bring with us all the, let's say, not the inconsistencies or maybe the problems we have in the third industrial revolution, obviously. So that's why we're tackling also the gender and youth separately, smart city, SMEs, and smart industrial park, we can call that technology park. The way forward, here we are. Innovation, digital infrastructure, and skills. We are very relevant in the first innovation and the skills, I think, with other international partners. The digital infrastructure countries and cities are doing it better, and even also companies. But for the first, we think that it is good that we work. This is the base of what we are talking about. Having Industry 4.0, having new industrial revolution, smart cities, without talking about the innovation ecosystem is missing really the key discussion. And here, as you can see, we are talking about the industrial innovation and social innovation. We try also at least to categorize them for better understanding and discussion. Here, education skills, we think that it's very important also to, with all the other international partners, to mobilize our effort, our knowledge, our credibility on really educating people that need to be educated, but also forming the new skills in those countries. Now we talk about converging skills. Here, I think somebody mentioned yesterday, we start this new industrial revolution. It's not a matter, I will join, I will not join. People need to start, even if the policy is not ready in their country. It is just a matter of selecting where we would like to stand. And this is, I think, one of the last slides I wanted to show. So here you need to just take that train, because it's a train we all need to take for the betterness of the humanity. I thank you, and sorry for being long. And I think I will right now give the floor to the first presenter, and I follow the order which was given to by the presenter. So I think the order is going after to after my presentation, I will invite obviously my colleague Yoslan, I still call him Yoslan, to introduce himself, obviously, Hans, and from UNESCO. And we are here today in UNIDO because UNESCO felt it was important UNIDO participated also in such conference, because alone they think that something was missing. And we would like to thank UNESCO for insisting and having UNIDO here. We are very glad, we are learning a lot, and obviously we are going to shape our future technical cooperation based on what we are learning here. Without wasting time, I invite my colleague Hans to make his own presentation.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and also thanks to from UNESCO to UNIDO for being present with us during this event here in Peking this week, and for working with us, and we look forward to this collaboration in the future as well, so thank you. My name is not Yoslan. My name is Hans Tolstrup. I'm a good friend and colleague of Yoslan's. We've worked together for nearly 20 years in different contexts in UNESCO. Yoslan works at our headquarters in Paris, and he's now very busy supporting the organization of the UNESCO Executive Board, which is the principal governing body of UNESCO. I'm based in Jakarta. I work with what UNESCO calls the Regional Bureau for Science for Asia and the Pacific. We are the regional office supporting UNESCO's work in science all across Asia and the Pacific Island countries. I work mainly with the water and environmental science program there, but of course these things, no matter what scientific field we're talking about, science, technology, and innovation intersect across scientific boundaries. So I'm very happy to have been asked by Yoslan and by my colleagues in Paris to talk a little bit about the fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0 or Industry 4.0. So as Dr. Yoslan told me, this is in fact the original German version of what we call Industry 4.0. I will refer to it as the fourth industrial revolution. That's a bit more neutral term, maybe, not to infringe on any copyrights. And I will talk a little bit in particular about what UNESCO does and how we support our member states in addressing this transition to the fourth industrial revolution. Yoslan sends his warm regards to all of you and his thanks for you being present in the session today. So, I'm going to be Yoslan now, and I will present you the slides in this way that he intended for them to be presented, and I will then be very happy to take questions and give you maybe more of my personal views on these issues as well. But just to put things in their place, first of all, Yoslan wanted very much for you to know the fourth industrial revolution to be conceived of as a digitalization of platforms across various fields, across industry, across economies, societies, through AICBM. So this is artificial intelligence, cloud computing, big data, mobile technologies. And through this digitalization, marking a progression into the technology conversions and the fading of boundaries between disciplines. And as I said before, we see this in the sciences, the traditional or conventional scientific disciplines are also becoming maybe less clearly defined because we are looking at solutions or challenges, the solutions to which require a more integrated approach. Hyperintelligence is hyper-connected to buzzwords or key characteristics of this fourth industrial revolution. And this convergence of technologies changes the industrial structure by creating disciplines, new smart business models, and also changes to the way manufacturing takes place. Manufacturing has been essentially born through the convergence of the AICBM. So this also means a change to human life, including possible reduction of overall employment, collapse or certain changes to the structure of the traditional labor market with the emergence of the new types of employment and the new ways of organizing the market and so on. So what do our member states, or what do we need in order to benefit, to progress through this revolution? What we need is a sustainable innovation ecosystem. And I'm just referring back to my colleague and his reference to the ecosystems, to the culture, to this interconnectivity of what underpins this fourth industrial revolution. So we need to build a foundation for a sustainable innovation ecosystem that is based around the innovation and the contributions of science and technology. UNESCO works towards this end in three different levels, three different spheres of activity. And I'm going to spend most of the rest of my brief talk just giving you a little bit of an idea of what that means. The three areas roughly are to ensure the sustainable creation, the sustainable emergence of sources of innovation. If we want innovation to lead us, we need to create the conditions for that innovation to arise in the first place. I'm going to talk a little bit about facilitating the development of innovation ecosystems, which is really at the core of this talk. And then on the other end of that, a little bit about the development of innovation platforms. So we have the source, the origin of innovation, the creation and generation of the ecosystem that supports it, in which innovation sits, and then the platforms that help to advance and take it further. So innovation ecosystem or seed of innovation, we can say we start with the seed, we start with the source, we move through the establishment of an ecosystem, and we light it up with a successful high technology startup private sector initiative which arises out of the innovation platforms that are given the basis to exist through this ecosystem. Excuse me. So to go back to the first of these three areas of work, the source of innovation. And here I think I personally like this point very much, because I think in order to have innovation occur, we need to make sure that our students, our young people, are equipped with the skills and the knowledge and the capacities to innovate. And that requires a strong science, technology, engineering, and math education. It's fundamental to ensure a sustainable supply of innovation sources. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, is important because it helps foster industrial competitiveness to address future challenges. And these challenges reach far beyond maybe what we think about when we talk fourth industrial revolution, but we're talking about things like climate change, sustainable energy supply, healthy aging, managing digitalization. This needs for us to invest in a labor market that meets the demand of innovation growth, and it demands that we are literate and that we are able to contribute from a knowledgeable standpoint, that we are able to make informed choices about innovation, and that requires basic STEM skills. So it is necessary and important to develop and improve education strategies that ensure that more young people are attracted to the sciences. Science, technology, engineering, and math is often, certainly in my own country, I can remember this from my own education, perceived to be less attractive than other fields of study, maybe because they are perceived to be more difficult, or more challenging, or more complex. We need to boost the effectiveness of national STEM platforms, so we need to boost the effectiveness of the existing system, and we need to support the establishment of new platforms and new ways of learning, new ways of designing education in a way that is both inspiring and also provides this basic fundamental skill set, if you will, innovation literacy, that is the basis on which we have to build. So this is the first sort of key point around the notion of the source of innovation. Building on that foundation, we then need to provide and foster entrepreneurship education. So we connect the innovation, the STEM skill set with an entrepreneurship education. There are, towards that end, the techno-entrepreneurship courses teaching fundamental issues that relate to starting and managing technology-based ventures, businesses, encouraging students to consider to become an entrepreneur. To me, that would have been something, I think back of myself again, would have been something quite intimidating, something associated with high risk. So how do we encourage young people to take those risks, to take an interest in connecting their skills in technology with skills in entrepreneurship? It should also prepare students for more intensive entrepreneurship and further learning in entrepreneurship, such as venture creation, entrepreneurial growth strategies, and other content. The second area of more advanced learning courses is innovation governance. And the idea there is for students to attain the capacity to analyze the impact of the fourth industrial revolution to all innovation stakeholders and to the population at large. And this relates to government, how innovation policy influences the innovation system in this changing world. And we've heard a lot about that in the plenary sessions yesterday and today. For academia, it's how universities should adapt their role to relate to the digital governance and technology convergence. And then for industry, how technology conversion impacts the production systems. I'd like to think that during this week and during the sessions we've had, we've heard from, certainly from government, we've also heard from academia, and we have heard, and we will hear more maybe further later this afternoon, from industry as well. This is not something which can be handled by one or two of these actors alone. This really requires contributions from all across the economy, all across society, if we are to progress successfully through this change. So just a few words on the innovation ecosystem. And this is an area where UNESCO provides support, in particular to our member states in the developing world, to elaborate and review and innovate, reorganize innovation policy. And you can see Yoslan's graph here has sort of two diagrams on it. To the left, you have the kind of a conventional idea of an innovation ecosystem, where government works with industry, works with universities, academia, research centers, with central investment to provide the creation of an innovation ecosystem. This, as we've heard already in the introduction and also in the discussions upstairs, is difficult to do. The reality is often more complex, and it is particularly difficult in developing countries where governments may not have the resources or the strength, government, industry, and academia, to make the investments and take the decisions on their own. It requires the contribution of multiple stakeholders and actors from the financial sector, from the informal sector, from the private sector, civil society, in addition to these sort of three big conventional players. So we are dealing with a reality that is more complex, that is more difficult, maybe more challenging to navigate, but also which, with the right innovation policy, provides maybe for more opportunities to raise more opportunity to engage the public, to engage the community in the creation of innovation. So the potential here is for a more inclusive process and for a process that draws on a larger and more diverse talent pool, if you will, in the design of the innovation ecosystem. It's clearly more challenging, so this is the area where UNESCO and the team working with Yoslan puts particular effort in dealing with that reality, providing the best possible advice. A little bit on innovation platforms, the platforms that operate within this ecosystem. And of course, I cannot stand here in Daejeon without making a particular reference to this long-standing and successful collaboration between UNESCO and the WTA with the organization of annual international workshops now well into the middle of their second decade. Also regional training workshops, entrepreneurship development training, focusing on the areas that we've just gone through. Training for trainers, support for young people to engage in innovation and to acquire the necessary skills, with particular focus on science parks and technology business incubators. And for those of you who have been part of this forum in the past, and may have taken part in the UNESCO WTA training course, you may notice that this year the focus has been very much on smart cities, but in fact this is building on a longer discussion around how to design and implement a successful and effective science parks and technology business incubators. So this is a very important connection underpinning the discussions here this week. Technical assistance is also provided, and this is done through the elaboration and use of master plans for science parks, for business incubators, preparation of the large-scale feasibility studies. These are actions that are taken in response to demand from member states, from participants in the UNESCO WTA courses, and then jointly the elaboration of business plans and strategic plans for the development of particular science parks and the business incubators. And again, this is something which has been going on for a considerable period of time, with forums here in Daejeon and elsewhere in the world. 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 19. It's a pleasure to be here. I had the fortune of representing UNESCO in 2015 as well. And it's been very encouraging to see the progression of the discussion, the continuation of this partnership, and also this community that has been created around the Global Innovation Forum. As the discussions in this session will make clear, I already have alluded to, this is a very rapidly evolving and shifting field. This fourth industry field of growth is a huge change. We are part of a discussion that goes back quite a while to before the emergence of the Industry 4.0 concept. So of course, this discussion, this forum, this venue, has to pick up and address in the best possible way, drawing on the contributions of all of you into this discussion, which is now upon us on the Industry 4.0. So I hope this session makes a contribution to making that happen, leveraging the assembled power and the influence and creativity of this group into the discussions upstairs later today. And with that, I'd like to finish my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to your questions after we've heard from the rest of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoslan.
You're welcome.
So I will invite the next presenter. Thank you, Hans. So I will invite Mrs. Jessica Dumeville. She is the Principal Research Officer for Knowledge Management and Education at the National Institute for Science, Technology and Innovation of Seychelles. So thank you for being here with us. I think you just arrived and you are under the jet lag, but ready to share your experience here, the small islands. And I think you will be also talking about your beautiful islands and what Industry 4.0 can bring to the life of the people, but also to respond to climate change. So you have the floor. I think I need just to put your presentation here. Jessica. You can better introduce yourself, better than I did. Excellent. Where is it? For the show. Yeah, here.
I don't know if you can all see me. So before I start, I think Raymond did a very good introduction of me, so I don't think I need to add anything further. But before I start, how many of you have heard about the Seychelles? Okay, that's good. So how many of you know exactly where we are? Okay. All right. So for those of you who don't know, we are actually a group of about 115 islands in the eastern part of the Indian Ocean. We are off the coast of Kenya and Tanzania. Actually, one of our furthest islands, they can see the coast of Tanzania. And we are located about the northern part, like the northmost of the island. It's located about 4 degrees south of the equator. So we get technically sunshine all year round. And yeah, so that was like a little brief about Seychelles, so to give you a perspective of what I'm going to talk about. So my presentation will be on innovative financing for sustainable development of a small island developing state. Because like my previous presenters, when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution in Seychelles, people are very skeptical. They think about, robots walking down the streets and driving buses and things like that. So it's very difficult for them to put into perspective what the fourth industrial revolution, like the digitization of the economy, can do for 115 small islands in the Indian Ocean. So I've talked about the background of Seychelles, and one of our main issues with our 115 islands they are located spread out on 1.4 million square kilometers of water, and we have a total land surface area of 455 square kilometers. So actually, as a country, we are smaller than Beijing itself. So, and our population is only 95,000, with around 10,000 expatriate workers. And with the population, we have an aging population. So that is one of our factors. So we've got a low birth rate, and we have very very good health system. So our population is aging, and our main economic activity is tourism and fisheries. And as of 2015, we were classified as a high-income country. So we are in a very tricky situation where we are globally we are labeled as a developing country, but then we get classified as a high-income country. But it's mainly based on tourism and fisheries, which the moment you hear about tourism and fisheries, there are a lot of external factors that are actually not in our control that is having a huge impact on our economic development. So the government felt there is a need to diversify our economy, and one of the ways to diversify this economy is to develop our big maritime space. That is our most feasible option. So then we adopted what we call the blue economy. So the blue economy is just a simple concept to manage your blue economy, manage the ocean and the blue resources. So it's very similar to the green economy, but in this case it's managing the oceans and our blue resources. So therefore it targets a lot on the UN SDGs 14, life below water, and it is recognized that it will require ambitious coordinated action to sustainably manage, protect and preserve our ocean, and for now and for our future generation. So just from this introduction and from the background that I've given you about Seychelles, this is, for us, this is the fourth industrial revolution. So we are 95,000 and we have been tasked to look after 1.4 million square kilometers of water. And our people, we don't have the capacity to do that. So that's why for us, the fourth industrial revolution with the digitization will help us to better manage the ocean. So I will quickly go through the different strategies, the strategic objectives for the blue economy. It is, the priority number one is for creating sustainable wealth. So to diversify the fisheries, the tourism, and the port, and to have more value additions, factories, and value chains. To explore new and emerging sectors like the mariculture and the aquaculture, renewable energy, biotechnology, digital connectivity, trade, focusing on policy setting, feasibility, and pilot projects. And the strategy priority number two is sharing prosperity. So ensuring food security and well-being of the population, ensuring access to high-quality education and professional training, improving the business environment, encouraging local and international investment, innovation in the SMEs, and have a culture of entrepreneurship. Priority number three, securing healthy and productive ocean. So basically, we need to think about protecting the marine and coastal assets through the marine protected areas and addressing the ocean risks like marine pollution, climate, and ocean acidification. And so strategic priority number 4 is to finalize a marine spatial plan and to develop R&D and innovation capability. So as a high-income country, we need to diversify the funding opportunities and managing the ocean risk, strengthening the national partnership between government, industry, civil society, regional partners, and international partners, and have international advocacy and partnership to attract technical and financial resources, and to keep the small island state issues at the forefront of the global development and climate change agendas. Okay, so these were the 4 priorities. So now I will go to the topic of, briefly on the topic of my presentation, which is innovative financing. So the government of Seychelles realized that for us to manage the ocean, we will need something more than what we have, because as a small island, we don't have large companies in Seychelles, and for a long time, our business community, they felt that, and it's not just something for the business community, but it was very difficult for you to have and grow a business in Seychelles. The government had, I would say, hands on mostly all of the industries. It's now in the past maybe 5 to 10 years that they have been selling shares in companies so that we can develop our business community. So for us to then, from our situation 5 years ago to now, they felt that we need to sit down and think about what do we do next, because we were given the status of high-income country, and so it was very difficult for us to gain financial support from international communities that we were getting in the past. So actually, Seychelles is one of the first countries to develop the Blue Bond. So the Blue Bond is designed with the support of World Bank and the Global Innovation Facility and the Prince of Wales charity. It's grants for fishermen, and it gives access to concessionary blue loans that will enable businesses to improve the value chains to reduce overcapacity and overfishing. So basically, the Blue Bond is a very good partnership between private and public. It's a private-public partnership whereby large companies they buy the bonds, then the money goes to the local communities for the development of the blue economy sector. And the second innovative finance that we had, it was pilot in 2015, is the debt swap. So with the support of some international lending agencies, for example, the Paris Club of Creditors, so they take our debt, our loan, for us to repay. So we don't have to repay the loans and the debt from the Paris Club. So the money that we're going to repay those loans, they come into the development of the blue economy and the nature conservancy. So in Seychelles, there is a private, it's a non-profit organization that manage those two financing. So it's not, it is based from the government, but it's for the businesses, especially in the blue economy sector, to manage those funds. So it gives us an opportunity for us to embrace the fourth industrial revolution, because without those innovative financing, it will be very difficult for us to innovate and to develop, because it's now that we are talking about capital investors and angel investors. So these are new terms in Seychelles right now. We are now looking at those, because our traditional funding of businesses was mainly banks, and right now the banks they won't invest in innovative solutions. So in Seychelles, the current talk is looking at angel investors and capital investors. So having those innovative financing help us to leapfrog into the next, because we have no choice. We are actually stagnant, and we have no choice. We can no longer walk into our next economic development. We have to leapfrog into our next economic development. So the innovative financing will help us to leapfrog and not to walk into those innovative financing. So before I end my presentation, I would like to, amongst the 1.4 million square kilometers of water that we have, we also share a continental plate with Mauritius. So it's called the joint management area. So again, with Mauritius, we have to work together with Mauritius to manage this open space. And it's actually not managing the water itself, but not the water resources, but the ocean floor. So for us to manage that kind of area, we definitely need the opportunities of the fourth industrial revolution, so that we can have the bigger projects like the biotechnology to develop those areas. So thank you. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for allowing me to share this initiative from the Seychelles with you this afternoon, and thank you, UNIDO, for inviting a very, very minute country on this World Forum. Thank you.
So thank you very much for your presentation, Jessica. And by doing that, two things, because you have seen the inclusiveness aspect we mentioned before. Don't leave no one behind. Small islands, since they have also concern problems of being part of the fourth industrial revolution. One thing. The second thing, also she touched the financing question we are just saying, which is very important also for those countries if it is not led by the private sector. Because the private sector don't care, maybe. They know and they see the initiatives and the opportunities and they go there. For the small islands, they have more difficulties sometimes to attract investors. They have pride. But by doing that, they will be doing maybe procurement of new technologies, obviously. But they will need to train the people to maintain it and to use those new technologies. They are trying to reinvent themselves by also exploring such kind of innovative financing to finance the new technologies, the procurement, skills development is exemplary. But it is also the experience we need to know that if you want everybody to ride and to take the train, we need also to see the concern and the problems of the smallest, those who are left in the islands. This was, it seemed like not connected, but it was at least the intention. We are running short of time. I will give now the floor to the presenter from Fraunhofer. Byeungkwan is working here in the Fraunhofer office. They are dealing with Industry 4.0. By the way, this is still the same networking of research centers originated from Germany. We are very happy to have you here and to hear what you are going to share with us in terms of research and development contribution to the industrial fourth revolution. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Raymond, for introduction. As introduced, I work for the Fraunhofer Society, which is in Germany-based public research organization. In its kind, Fraunhofer Society is the largest research organization in Europe. Around 72 institutes belong to the Fraunhofer Society, and we do more or less than everything which comes to the topic applied research. I'd like to talk about the topic Industry 4.0 and developing countries from the perspective of a research network. Let's talk about innovation. There are two trends in recent years about innovation. One is open innovation, the other one is disruptive innovations. You may have heard about these terminologies. Open innovation is a counter terminology to closed innovation. Closed innovation means you invent more or less than everything what you need inside the organization and inside the system. And open innovation utilizes open sources. Even outside the system, you take research findings outside the organization and carry it to the innovation. Before World War II, closed innovation was the major form of innovation, simply because there was not enough knowledge inside the organization. So you are forced more or less to invent everything by yourself. But after the World War II, the findings, the inventions increased very sharply. The number of technical universities increased sharply. Research organizations like ours were established, and also then academic publications, the number increased dramatically, and the connectivity also then, the accessibility to the knowledge also then increased through the internet and also then the electronic media. This graph shows the commercial licenses and startups launched out of academic centers, which include universities and research institutions. This number doubled over past 15 years, which is a strong indication for open innovation. This is another indication. Corporate venture capital has increased sharply almost everywhere in last year. So corporate venture capital funds innovations outside the system in the market. What about the other trend, the disruptive innovation? Disruptive innovation means it's destroying the existing business model once it is introduced. The existing business logics, existing moral technologies are destroyed by introduction of a certain technology or certain business model. The most famous example is the invention of telephone by Graham Bell. When it was introduced, all the telegram companies denied the technology. What do you do with the telephone? We are focusing on the telegram, and they achieved a big technological advancement. But once telephone was introduced, and the cost for telephone gets cheaper, all the telegram technologies were destroyed, were not meaningful. Disruptive innovation means it destroys the existing business model and create new business values. We have seen also then in the recent years some examples of these disruptive innovations. The smartphone of Apple can be an example. Not everyone was destroyed by introducing the smartphone, but Nokia was destroyed. Literally, now they are from the market, crowded out from the market when they were reluctant to change, to adapt to the change. So the question is, how real does the disruptive innovation become? This graph shows the number of quotations about the disruptive innovations. The line shows the quotation in the academic paper about the disruptive innovations. You see here, since the late 90s, the number of quotations of disruptive innovations increased sharply. The dotted line, this line, shows the quotation in the management literature. Until the beginning of 2000, there was not enough attention to the disruptive innovations, but it increased, it literally rocket-wise, since 2012, and it overtook the academic paper. This means the disruptive innovation reached the business world. In a survey of McKinsey, the managers also then confirmed that they are now taking the disruptions and disruptive innovation very seriously. What does the recent innovation trend mean to the developing countries? Now, at the first glance, it looks like then developing countries could benefit from this innovation trend. Now more knowledge is available in the market and outside the system. We could just take this knowledge and catch up with the developed countries. One could think like that. And we could also then introduce a new business model, which will be a game changer. And we could become simply advanced market leader. Is it true? Things are, in fact, more complicated than this. The fourth industrial revolution tries to connect all the production elements. This means, it connects more or less everything through the data and data processing technologies, and this makes all the process more complicated. The terminology Industry 4.0 is actually the German answer, as mentioned previously, is a German answer to the fourth industrial revolution. It is basically the same terminology, but focuses more on the manufacturing side. With the Industry 4.0, people try to organize all the existing production elements and try to connect them and put them around individual customers. So it is a kind of transformation process, and it goes to the reorganization of production factors for whole life cycle of production services. And what is inside here? It's a little bit complicated. It's not easy to look through that. And this terminology, and then this, the Industry 4.0 and fourth industrial revolution are meant, to a certain extent, to improve the competitiveness of the developed countries. So, new challenges arise for developing countries. Traditional cost advantages diminishes. In the past, there was a value chain, and there was a high added value part, which was taken by developed countries. And developing countries focused on the low added value part. That was separation of the world, and each country took their part. But with the Industry 4.0, the companies in the developed countries, they claim to organize everything by themselves and reorganize them we observe today return of multinational companies to their home countries. What do you say to that? You know, there are more than 2,400 companies returned to US in the last 5 years. These companies created more than 260,000 jobs in US. You know, the jobs were shifted from elsewhere to US. This is because value is created through reorganizational processes. And new businesses will be based on the network organizing power, and the network organizing power is given to the developed countries. They have the organizing power. It's not that simple. That developing countries simply then pull out the resources and organize the new production process. This is very difficult. So I think developing countries now need new strategies towards Industry 4.0. I think they need to review the new value chain, and they need to review where they stand and how the value chain looks like. They should question themselves again the comparative advantages they have. Now, comparative advantage is a very old terminology. It's a few hundred years ago, introduced by David Ricardo, but it's still valid and still compelling. Comparative does not mean that countries compare with the other countries. Comparative means here, I compare my certain capacity with the other capacity. And where do I have better capability? Do I have better capability in data mining than the capability in producing shoes? Yeah. Then I have the comparative advantage in data mining. If every country looks and reviews its comparative advantage, then each country should have its comparative advantage, which they can focus and specialize on. So, it is all about value creating. The terminology of GDP is the sum of the added values. So the question is, where do I create the values? And we need to keep in mind with Industry 4.0, the process for value creation has changed, and we need to reconsider our position, especially for developing countries. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. I think obviously Dr. Park has given us some other aspects we need to consider, that the value chain is changing, and definitely some jobs are going back to the industrialized countries and advanced countries. And what will be the role of developing countries, how they can find their own way. I think we asked the question and so we provide you other insight. But now I would like to invite, obviously, the last presenter before we start the discussion. Now the private sector, because it's a private sector from a country which used to be, let's say, developing country. They define themselves still like an emerging country, China. And so private sector associations, they have identified a sector, additive manufacturing, and they think that this is a sector where they can have their place in the value chain. Comparative advantage. They are doing it. Maybe they are not leading the process, but they are really part of the process, and many people recognize their role in the 3D additive manufacturing. I would like, obviously, Mr. Shaolian Zeng to share the experience of the Shanghai Additive Manufacturing Association, who is asked in terms of promoting and working on the fourth industrial revolution. So you have the floor.
Distinguished Mr. Tavares, distinguished guests, good afternoon. And I'm very happy to be here My topic is 3D printing and Industry 4.0. As we know, 3D printing is the technology that creates products by applying additive materials to each other from the bottom up, based on a digital model. And what is the relationship between 3D printing and Industry 4.0? First, let us briefly review the course of industry development. Industrial manufacturing in any period is to meet human needs for material life, but in different periods, this demand has its own characteristics of the times. Each of the 4 stages of industry development has its own characteristics. In the Industry 1.0, the invention of steam engine was an important symbol at that time. There were relatively few product categories and batch products. Industry 2.0 is characterized by electrification and assembly line production with a great variety of products and the prevalence of mass production. With a great variety of products and the prevalence of mass production, in the era of highly automated Industry 3.0, the variety of products and the manufacturing efficiency have been greatly enhanced. The following Industry 4.0 is the era of personalized small batch product explosion, and the personalized needs in the industrial fields will be more and more obvious. 3D printing, an important tool to meet personalized needs, will play an important role. Just like this, people want to put their own stamp on things that belong to them and show their individuality. People don't even want to wear the same clothes as the people around them. To solve the problem, maybe 3D printing clothing is a good choice. 3D printing customized clothing more and more styles like to wear, and will enter the home of ordinary people in the future. In manufacturing field, individual needs are everywhere. To meet people's personalized needs, BMW Mini has launched a service called Mini Yours Customized. Mini owners can create personalized parts through 3D printing, which can be customized according to their own needs, such as their own names or lucky numbers. This is a GE 3D printing jet nozzle for aircraft engine. By 2020, 40,000 jet engine fuel nozzles will be 3D printed. GE plans to use 3D printing to produce more than 20% of its components by 2025. Siemens has also strengthened its position in 3D printing. Giant companies widely use 3D printing manufacturing products have a good demonstration role, and strong promotes the application and the promotion of 3D printing technology. At present, 3D printing has been widely used in aerospace, automobile, medical care, architecture, mode, cultural creativity, education, consumer goods, and art fields. With the development of the technology itself, the application fields will continue to expand. Medical professionals can now make 3D printed parts that mesh and grow with bones to form stronger joints than ever before. Some companies have even made breakthroughs in 3D printing organs. With 3D printing, artificial organs are not as far away as previously thought. 3D printing buildings have also seen great development in recent years. 3D printing bus station, 3D printing villa, 3D printing green wall. These pictures are real 3D printing buildings from a professional architecture 3D printing company in China. "3D printing is also emerging in the shoe industry to meet people's needs for personalized shoes. In April 2018, Adidas launched the 3D printed shoe Futurecraft 4D, which caused an unprecedented situation on the internet and almost sold out in a second. Nike, Under Armour, Brooks, Liang, and other sports brands have also announced they are making 3D printing shoes. This is a 3D printing faucet. They are very beautiful and complicated. Using 3D direct metal printing technology, high-quality stainless steel powder material is used to ensure that the faucet will not rust and corrode. They are also very unique in appearance design, with a great format design highlighting the sense of function and feeling different from ordinary faucets. Besides being beautiful, the unique cubic geometry of this faucet also matches seamlessly with the 3D printing nozzle, allowing the faucet to have an open channel inside and water to flow through the base. This is a new company in the United States, using 3D printing and traditional manufacturing to create a new sports car. Its biggest characteristics is lightweight, high parts integration, small number of parts, vehicle assembly process greatly simplified. With the blessing of 3D printing technology, the research and development efficiency has been greatly improved. This is another 3D printing car company. 3D printing has greatly lowered the threshold for building cars and provided technical support for the development of customized cars. There's no doubt that personalized manufacturing will be another characteristic of Industry 4.0, just as intelligence and information are the characteristics of Industry 4.0. So, my view is as follows. First, one of the characteristics of Industry 4.0 is the prominent appearance of individual demands in the individual field. Second, 3D printing is a key tool to achieve customization. Third, 3D printing enables Industry 4.0. In the era of Industry 4.0, 3D printing will flourish. So far, 3D printing is still a small industry in the trillions of manufacturing market. But there is no doubt that 3D printing will have a big future. And we are looking forward to the day when 3D printing will shine brilliantly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Mr. Xingkun.
And this is my contact information. And welcome to contact us. We sincerely invite you to visit and invest in China. we can provide any help and services we can. I look forward to meeting you in China. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So no one starts, I start, and everyone dares afterwards. So first of all, thanks for WGA creating this group, as it is. Fantastic. I really like the country example, the challenges that you described. Then the Fraunhofer presentation, very nice, because you put on top of the Industry 4.0, you put the mechanism of the Open Innovation Challenge that we have, what it means. And then the reshoring, that was not touched before. What most of these countries do is not only America first, but it's also in Europe. We're really thinking about, how can we get our manufacturing back? Why is it so important? Because I think an economy can only be healthy if you have about 20+% in manufacturing. That creates a very healthy economy that is kind of stable when you touch crises. And then the opportunities that you described, what China is doing now, you have been great in molding, so this is mass production, but you made the switch to the new technology, to understand the technology, and then to make out of the mass production molding, where you have been great. And I know that almost every car manufacturing company was using the moldings, that came from China, But this one was kind of evaporating over the time because of the customization. So, and there, I think you made the right move, to jump on the new technology and to use 3D printing, This is the big new wave is customization. And no one wants to have the kind of same thing like the other one. And that is really a nice move. So thanks for all of you. I do not really have a question. I just wanted to summarize what I understood, and what you made is really great. And I wish you all the best for these challenges to go on the blue economy, which is a possibility. But it's also a challenge. Yes. So all the best for that. John.
So thank you very much. He would have been the moderator. He really summarized everything very, very well, which is really what is. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, sir.
There's so much I could ask about, but I'll just stick to one question, goes right back to where you were talking about driverless cars. There's a friend of mine and his wife's got dementia, so badly that he can't have her in the house anymore. She's in the home. But he's been diagnosed with such a bad heart condition he's not allowed to drive a car anymore. So he took the risk when his sister visited him from down in Sydney and drove her 2 kilometres to a shopping centre and got caught. He was fined heavily and had to leave the car parked where it was. Now it's a manual car. When he got taken back home by taxi, nobody around him that he knew could drive a manual car. So he rang me, I went up, parked my car at his place, asked him where his car was, and I walked to where his car was, drove it back. And I think the vast majority of Australians today getting a driving licence, they don't bother getting a manual licence, so they can't drive a manual car. They haven't got the ability to. With driverless cars, my problem, I've got several problems with them. The first problem is that when they become commonplace, and that'll be long after I'm not around, the majority of people I feel won't bother learning to drive at all. They can tell the car where to go, the car will go. So that when you've got an emergency ride, an emergency vehicle, and somebody has to drive a manual, which there still will be for emergency situation type vehicles, a lot of people won't be able to drive them even though they're the first person on the scene. And the other thing is, how do you stop a driverless car from running into somebody? It's already happened in America where the surveillance system misread what was in front of it, run into a truck and killed the driver. And how are you going to stop when driverless cars get on the world's road in huge numbers, because everybody, this is the way to go? How are you going to stop people from hacking into the control systems and causing, well, mass chaos? It can be done. It has been done 18 months ago on a trial in America with Jeeps, the manufacturer of Jeeps, where they got some digital geeks in to see if they could, where the Jeeps were operating, driving along the road, see if they could break in to the computer system of the vehicle. They did, and managed to control the accelerator and the brakes. What more do you need to cause for some criminal who's got the skills to cause chaos on the roads? I'd just like somebody to assure me none of these bad things can happen with driverless cars.
I think it was a question or a comment. So it means all the new technologies, I think I will open the floor here, they come with also some, let's say, challenges. All technologies, but I think it is not a new thing. It used to be also like that. All technologies, they come into life with opportunities and challenges, and also people who are misusing those technologies. But the purpose of this panel was just showing that Industry 4.0 is another revolution to the manufacturing, and which can serve the purpose of smart cities. We don't need to forget that obviously industries and the private sector, they are part of the society or the city we would like to build. Otherwise, obviously, and we need technologies. And nowadays, the new technologies are serving that purpose. Obviously, you have some deviations, you have some imperfections, you have also things that could be fixed. I don't know if some of the members of the panel, they want to say something.
I'm not an expert in the field. Just I would like to add some comment. The technology for autonomous car is not mature yet, but as Raymond just mentioned, it is getting better and better. You need a very safe mobile telecommunication system. Nowadays we introduced in Korea at least in 5G technology, which might not be sufficient, but it is much more secure than the previous 4G technologies. And that makes sense also then on the prototype possible, that autonomous driving car, now the prototype to test it in the field. I think for security fields, I think the technologies are getting better too, preventing from hackers. And once the technologies are ready, I think the autonomous car should be introduced. It is not ready yet.
Just also to an extension of this comment, there was one thing you said at the beginning of your comment that I thought was very important. With the arrival of driverless cars, people will not bother to learn how to drive a car. And I think that can be extended to a number of other areas as well. With the technology available for automation, we don't need to acquire the skills ourselves to do basic things, or even advanced things. When I went to school, so 30 years ago, you could, with basic technical education, you could understand how a telephone worked, and how many everyday pieces of technology work. But that's not so easy anymore, and it becomes increasingly difficult. So the distance between what you can acquire through education and what you essentially need to know to understand how things work because they're being done for you is growing. So it's a real challenge for education, I think. So just reinforce the point I made during the discussion that how do we recast our education, STEM education in a wider sense, so that we bridge this gap. So we don't feel, well, I don't need to know that, and it's too complicated anyway, so I don't have to bother, because it will be done for me by automation. It is a real challenge for education, and something that we should be thinking about and maybe also speaking about. I think so. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you very much. Other questions?
Hi, I wanted to talk about the 3D printing of this. One of the examples given in this presentation was 3D printing organs, and I wanted to talk about the ethical implications behind it, more specifically in the creation of these 3D printed organs kind of decrease the value of life, because the value of life depends on the fact that there is an end to some extent. But however, if we're talking about 3D printing organs and then putting them into bodily systems, that means continuing life to some extent. So what are the ethical implications to the use of 3D printers in creating organs?
Thank you very much, but very difficult question. I think the same question you may have asked it also by technology. But now, since your question is on the 3D printing, so I will give the floor to Mr. Zeng if you would like to react on that. I think it's going beyond the 3D printing of this discussion. And if there is somebody else who would like also to give an answer. Translation.
事实上，3D 打印在医疗上的这个应用，用于打印器官还是一个非常离我们还有一段距离。目前在医学上的应用，大部分还集中在医学的前端，就是做手术的模型，还有这个少量的这个植入物。
Mr. Zeng just answered that actually its application of 3D printing organs is at the very beginning stage regarding the medical application. And nowadays, actually, its application is mostly focused on the operation, to support the operation.
这里面还涉及到一个就是标准还有行业准入的问题，因为要用到人体上，特别是在医学上，这个3D 打印的这个植入物要用到人体上。 这个标准和准入在每个国家都是非常严格的。
And now, actually, Mr. Zeng believes most countries who is trying to use the 3D printing organs, they have their own standards and regulation and rules to try to management this market.
打印器官是未来的一个非常好的一个有前景的一个技术。新的技术的这个发展，现在因为我们有看到有一定的企业在做打印器官的方面，已经实现了细胞的打印、血管的打印、皮肤的打印。未来这个整个器官的这种功能性的打印，未来肯定会有很好的这个突破。 所以我们很相信打印器官未来会有非常大的一个前景。目前我们要换器官都是需要有这个活体的供体，但是这个是可遇不可求。如果3D 打印器官的这个技术能够突破，对于组织功能，也就是医疗上的这个组织器官的这个应用，会是非常大的一个革命性的进步。
Mr. Zeng just mentioned that actually he believes the development, this is a trend of 3D printing that regarding the application of 3D printing organs. And nowadays there are so many companies that are trying to use the technologies not only on the 3D printing organs but also 3D printing skins and the 3D printing like people's bones. And we believe that with the development of 3D printing technology, 3D printing organs will bring us a new revolution on medical service.
So, thank you very much. We have another question. But what we wanted to know here is obviously it will be depending on the regulations existing in the different countries where such kinds will be applied. But I think later, obviously, if it is a question of ethics, as you and your United Nations organization, we are vigilant for the respect of the person, so human rights, the values that are mostly and internationally shared. Now, when you're going beyond those kind of things, I think the regulations of countries will apply. Some countries will apply it easily, others no. It depends, like automatically and other also questions regarding ethics, per se. So,
I just wanted to make an addition to your question. I fully understand your question from the standpoint that people are getting afraid that we create these luxury monsters, you know, the people with a lot of money that can try to live forever. Yeah? But please take the other side of the coin, which is people that are, you know, I know it from Germany at least, you know, that we have long waiting lists of people that are waiting for a heart or for a liver, for a part of bones, yeah? And this is one aspect, you know, and especially if you have someone in your family suffering from that and have no possibility. I prefer to have a 3D printed organ instead of the other things that you know that we have, especially from developing countries, yeah, that we have a kind of a mafia that is taking care of organs coming from those countries being taken into the developed countries, which is awful, yeah, unbelievable. And if we can stop this crime with having 3D printing, helping people that had a fire, you know, they were in their house, they were burned, you know, the skin is gone, yeah, they really suffer, and we have the possibility to give them a 3D printed skin, yeah. And I really believe what you said is totally correct. We need the state to control, yeah. Whenever we have 3D printed organs, it's not something like a luxury product, yeah. We should be careful with that. Yeah, we should not create robots that live forever, yeah, because they can afford it. Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. I think now we're running out of time. So and you wanted to ask a question after your question, yeah, because I wanted them to conclude on the inclusive that you were saying. Just to give a word to conclude on the Industry 4.0 inclusiveness, the way you think we need to consider it to conclude that. Please.
Okay, thank you so much. I have another question. Would you please give me some recommendation about how we can encourage students to involve more in entrepreneurship program? Because when they study in a specific field, for example, electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, they don't know, they don't understand exact impact of entrepreneurship and other aspects of innovation for their future job. How can we encourage them to be involved in entrepreneurship program?
I think there are probably many answers to the question, but I think one thing could be, as I talked about in the presentation, I think often if you're following a particular branch of education, and if you are taking a technical education or engineering education, you may not have had many opportunities to be exposed to entrepreneurship, to the thinking around entrepreneurship, to this. So maybe an earlier exposure, having an earlier opportunity in the education to be exposed to other fields, so a more integrated approach to the way we teach and learn. I think that's also conversely necessary to expose students who would not normally choose a technical subject to be inspired and to see there is maybe something of interest to me in science, in engineering, in math. So it works, I think, both ways. So at an earlier stage, having these sort of moments of inspiration or opportunities to experience other fields of study, including business entrepreneurship, which I said for me would have been during my time in school. I had no idea. It was only later when you see other people who have done it, who have taken a different path, and said, well, okay, I could have, but it never occurred to me. It was never presented as a viable option for me in my direction of study. So earlier exposure would help.
Yes.
I would like to comment on we are introducing entrepreneurship in school as well, because the government wants school leavers not to depend on the government for jobs. So we are introducing, about 2 weeks ago, there was a competition for entrepreneurs in the schools where it was not for them to develop, it was for them to develop a business idea and to see where they could go with their business idea. It was done by the government, but it was in the secondary school, so students from 14 to 17 years old. And we are even thinking of going even further in the lower classes, so introduce them with the idea that they can do something rather than go in the. Obviously, we still want, because we need the knowledge of university education, but we want them, like the students, especially with the technical studies, they were still relying on the manufacturing companies to hire them. So we want the students from the technical studies to develop their own business rather than relying on the government or the industries to employ them.
Thank you.
So thank you. And if you rely on what we said before, innovation is the base of everything of Industry 4.0. The culture of innovation, just for you to understand, most of the innovation are happening in startups. So it means those small creation, the culture of creativity that UNESCO is talking about, entrepreneurship program we are talking about, and others instruments existing, be it also clusters, be it technoparks, where you can have also at least the support for the new generation to have the courage to create a business from an idea. I would like, we don't have any more time, to ask you how can Industry 4.0 and innovation promote inclusiveness of countries? Your recipe. Very quickly in 2 words, so for the people you take away. What you want to share with me? Starting from, maybe you can say, starting from you, Mr. Park. Did you get the question? Okay.
So I can catch the question?
Yes, yes. No, you can. You want the question again? So the question is the last question. How can Industry 4.0 and innovation promote inclusiveness in countries?
Okay, it's and it's a very big question. I think promoting global inclusiveness is an important goal of the United Nations, and I believe this is also the consensus of most people. Inclusiveness first requires dialogue on the basis of equality, so that the fruits of development can be shared. I think there is no doubt that most of the people benefit from industry development and technological progress. And I think also Industry 4.0 represents a higher level of the industry sector and will contribute to greater inclusiveness in the world.
Thank you.
I think the Industry 4.0 does not automatically, help developing countries. They themselves have to understand first that things are changing with Industry 4.0. The whole process of value creating has been changing, and the countries and the companies need to understand the process and their value proposition.
Thank you very much. I would like to give the floor to Youngs, and so we have Jessica.
I think I would agree with the comment just made. Of course, it's not inclusiveness is not an automatic thing, but I think what we've heard from the discussion here is that to make the most of the opportunities offered by this requires contributions from everyone. It requires the drive, the investment from the private sector. It requires good governance, ethical guidelines by governments. It requires participation by people, by citizens, by communities to establish if there is no demand, if there is no need for the technology has very little place to go. So it requires a contribution and an input from communities. And it requires an anchor in the culture of people, nations, of communities. You have to have a connection between where we're going and where we are from. It requires a contribution from education, as I tried to stress. That we need education that is able to create a population that is illiterate and able to make informed choices that are coming at us very, very quickly. 3D printed organs and skin is not something I had thought we would getting into here. But of course it fits in the context. It is part of the discussion we have to have. So we have to have the skill set to be able to talk about those things with an ethical consideration in mind, with the possibilities to help people that were out of reach of help without the technology. So it is something that requires contributions from everyone in this room and everyone outside as well. So the inclusiveness hopefully comes from the fact that to make the most of this, we need everybody. Otherwise, technology will not live up to its potential anyway. So everybody's contributions.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Jessica?
Okay, thank you. I will talk about inclusiveness as like countries of the Indian Ocean, because as small islands, like for Seychelles, we are in competition with Mauritius and the other tropical islands for the tourists, for our economic development. So with the Industry 4.0, we don't have a choice but to work together as the different islands because we don't have the market. We don't have the market for products developed in Seychelles with 90,000 people. So we definitely need to look to our neighbors to be able to export our products. And we even have we are in the process of setting up a blue economy business technology and innovation incubator. So it's an Indian Ocean incubator in the blue economic sector. So it shows how as island countries we are working together for the same for the development of a sector which will benefit the whole region.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wanted to thank you by standing here and to ask also the audience to give a round of applause for this. They are amazing. Our takeaway, I think, is innovation is very important. The ecosystem, we need to have it for Industry 4.0 to be responsive. And we don't want to touch the customization because it was like commercial, but I think the way you just said, customization is taking care of the need of everybody. Everybody obviously taking care of the ethical situation. And so he gave me the courage to say that I think it is a takeaway also. Customization, inclusiveness is there. And think, we are reinventing our way to manufacture. Manufacturing with design that can serve the purpose in the environment. Manufacturing with less time. Manufacturing customized. Manufacturing also with less material lost, like the prototyping and additive manufacturing. So a new way of manufacturing which is really responding to the need of sustainability we have all. I would like to think about that, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much also for your contribution. So see you.